So, good evening from my location and good afternoon from your location.
Yes.
I'm well and good.
How are you, brother?
I'm well and good. And I hope you are doing the same also.
I am.
So,
Always good these days.
I think with events now and changing situation, I don't want to use the word globally, changing situations around the sphere, atmosphere, sphere, changing situations around the world. There's a need for us to look at food, and food have been used as weapon in time past and is still a weapon in the hands of people, so because in the olden days, from reading from historical books, you could see that it was a means of trade. You give me the food I want and then I give you what you want. And that have been what do you call it? Medium food has been a medium of exchange at one point in time in our world. And like I discussed with you on phone the other time about this movie that I watched called The Snowpiercer. And The Snowpiercer has got a TV series and then it has got a movie. The movie is just 1 and 26 minutes running, but the TV once is serialized, which goes into more details. Although the characters are not the same in both movies. Okay, so what is happening in this movie is that scientists, due to their fiddling with things, have managed to bring a drastic change in the weather pattern of the world, and therefore it is snowing everywhere in the world. It means cooler temperatures. People have to, get inside, and there's no food anywhere. And these scientists also who are doing much research on it, I found that he was even the cause behind the catastrophe. Okay, so he created this train, and this train, he called the engine the eternal train, and it is just moving around the world, it never stops. And in this train, there is an ecosystem. So the ecosystem means they have their own food, their own water source, and garden, roosters, animals, to feed on, basically, like the earth system. And that's, kept me wondering, these things are there, okay, which can be beneficial for the use of humanity. That's, becoming empowered with food. And in my research, okay, I've been doing research for some time on this aspect of, farming, okay. So I found out that in doing this research, I found out that there was a professor by name Dixon Dispomier, who told his students that, in New York, they should look at New York. There are buildings all over the place, and farming land have been encroached upon. And actually, when you look at the global, what do you call it, the world, the landscape of the world, globally, you see that about 70% of the mass is covered with water, and only 30% is covered with land mass. And out of this 30% land mass, the only land that is good for agriculture is around 70%. And out of this 70%, we have been able to use 51%, okay, for agriculture. So we are at a point where we will need to think either way, think, strategically, if you want to survive as a species. So that was the homework for his students. And the students came out with, what about if these tall buildings, we start planting on these tall buildings, and, and the same problem was there, okay? Because you can only farm at one point and you cannot go further. So uh, the professor said, no, you are thinking of planting the plant straight on the ground. What about if we plant it vertically? And so that resulted in what you call vertical farming today. And it's interesting. So that's where I want to leave it for you to come in. And then if you have, we can continue from there.
Sure. Sounds good, brother. Well, you know, I'm trying to get a elastic band off of. I got a little gift in the mail. My mailbox is down here at Bankers Hall, and look at, I got some walnuts, raw walnuts. So I was trying to get the lid off with one hand, but I got them now.
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, delicious.
Walnut
so
is
nice
good,
and soft.
it's good for the brain.
Anyway, you said a couple of words in there that really work in my mind. Okay, one being world.
Mm-hmm.
And the world is telling us that there's challenges with food, right?
Yep.
Mother Earth is saying, don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
I got this.
I got it. Yeah.
Just work with me. You know, like, it's so ridiculous because the world is the media. You know, that is the human construct.
Mm-hmm.
And we're told stories like global warming and we can't grow enough food, so we got to use GMOs, we got to use fertilizer, we got to use chemicals. Bullshit.
All for the big boys.
That's as much bullshit as the story that we lived through in our generation, or my generation, saying that oil is going to disappear. We got to have more money for it. You know, they got to jack up the price, and doing it again now, like ever since the so-called Democrats won in the US. What's happened to the oil price again? Boom, going up again, because all of a sudden now there's a shortage again. It's just the world of man, and it's the world of media that drives it into our heads. I mean, I'm not saying that anything is wrong with vertical integrated farming. Don't get me wrong.
No.
Because we've jammed humanity into these cities, it's much better to grow the food where they're at. So yeah, we can grow that. Then you get rid of the distribution costs. But here in Canada alone, Benjamin, we have millions of acres that we're growing GMO canola. It's not food, it's just complete utter garbage. You might as well flush it down the toilet. It's just such garbage. And yet we grow millions of acres of it in Canada. And then they say that they're shipping it over to China to boil their shrimp in or whatever. But I don't know if it even goes there. I think it gets dumped in the ocean. It's just a cycle of human slavery to keep people busy and to keep us off track from knowing that every one of those acres could be growing something really conscious, like hemp or carrots or peas or some food for mankind that has some health quality to it, naturally, without chemicals and fertilizer. So I just wanted to start off with that little rant, because I don't buy any world structure. I'm not from this world. The world being a construct of man. It's not my kingdom. It's just a bunch of bullshit. And it keeps feeding us this story of lack and debt and different words like that, destruction, which are just completely insanity. We live in a world of abundance, whether that be my world of money, the world of food, which I'm involved in as well, or oil, doesn't matter. We have abundance of all. There's abundance of land. When we talk about the percentage of land that we're growing food on and stuff, we could grow more, and we could use the land that we're using properly, build back the nutrients in it rather than dumping chemicals on it and pretending that we need to do that. That's all pretend. We don't need to do that. It's just insanity. So the world of man is insane. It's run by Satan Crazy thoughts. That's the only thing I think Satan is too.
I was
And
also,
these walnuts are delicious.
yeah. When you mention of fossil fuel, I was doing a research on fossils actually, and then I said, why this name for fossil? And one this thing information that I came across by one of the guys, CIA guys, an old man who was also sharing his thought. He said it was created to imprint on the mind of people that at one point in time there will be shortage because
Yeah.
once you dig fossils and fossil, but oil is eternal. Our the resources in the earth is infinite. If you have studied about dark matter, we have not even explored, half, even one third of it. So it keep on creating. It keep on creating. Nothing ever finishes. Like in the train, where they took the insanity that they have created from the earth, and even on the train, they divided themselves into classes again. First class, where the bourgeois, the big people were, and then the second class, and then the third class, where the tailies, and they were doing all the work, the dirty work in the train. And the middle class were in between. They felt, comfortable, And we create the same thing here: the gold standard, the silver standard, and the bronze standards, just to classification of human being to continue with the insanity and the stupidity. So there's a need for people to, become aware. And back to your point on the hemp, the hemp, growing of hemp.
Well,
When you look at what the hemp can do or what we can gain from the hemp food wise and then medicinally is so much. The other day I was holding the hemp milk. I got it from one of the supermarket outlet here. And somebody will say, before you finish drinking this thing, you'll be gone, you'll be high. I said, there's nothing in it. It's just a normal milk. And when you see the nuts, that is, see the hemp, what do you call it, nuts, the seed out of which we extract this oil is so much. And I mean, the hemp oil, if you even use it to prepare food, oh my God, it's so much. And medicinally, the effect of it on what do you call it, on cancer and so on. So
yeah,
it is something that they have suppressed. And talking about the hemp, even the stick or the back of if it is beaten or popped, you can use it for building materials, and plastics. A lot of things that can be grown. But we continue with, in our bid to control others, we create a system of shortage, artificial shortage, and we create a need of lack. That there's a shortage here, we need to. But if you look around us, like yesterday I was telling you, look at the vastness of the sea. The vastness of the sea tells you how abundant, and gracious the Creator is towards humanity. But we continue with this
yeah.
insanity of lack and wanting to control others. We put in place systems like these are the class, third class, and slavery. I don't know. It's insane. It's insane. Mhm.
Sorry, brother. I missed part of that, but that's okay. I got the gist of what you're saying. They were moving a piece of equipment in here and it was beeping away.
Yeah.
But what I picked up from what you're saying there early on was the idea of hierarchy or status or separation of humanity, right?
Yeah.
And that's what this is about more than anything else, because it's, it just it separates people, the idea of lack. Those that know there's not any lack, to hold their position, have to, they don't have to, but they want to hold their position. So they have to feed into the minds of the masses some kind of bullshit story, right?
Yeah.
And they do that through these governed minds, right? They do that through the lower level governments, right? And, you know, it's a perfect example here today because I'm sitting in Bankers Hall. I'm just going to give you a little scan of where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's all marble structure on the outside edges, on the inside and the outside of the building. Very, very classy, fancy building, right? And I used to come in here all the time, just, you know, with my shirt and sometimes just a t-shirt or whatever, you know. And I get more looks from them because I never wear a mask. And the people, the ones that are wanting to, you know,
Face diaper.
go be a heel, yeah. They give me the dirty looks. The security guards all love me. They don't care. They know who I am. But what I've done the last few days, and I wanted to try this on a Friday, is put on a tie. And I don't wear those other long things. They kind of represent the patriarchal male, you know what I mean. And but this thing, what happened to me yesterday and today, and especially today, was showing that hierarchy, right? So people are calling me sir just because of this, right?
When did you become knight? When were you knighted?
I know. And today is even better because Friday, generally downtown Calgary, they have a casual Friday. I think they do it every week now, like because of this bullshit that's going on in the world of man. But they used to do casual Fridays once a month or whatever, where people just wear their weekend clothes into work. So everybody's walking past me through this door right now, and they have to come around a little fence to get by me. And they're all in their casual clothes, you know? Not one of them is looking over here and going like that today, you know, like they usually give me the dirty look. So it just shows you how we've constructed this hierarchical separation of humanity. And whether, like, again, whether it's food or money or oil or you name it, it's all the same. It's just a construct to keep that hierarchy in place, to keep the slaves where they belong, to keep the, you know, the call it elites, whatever word you want to put on it,
yeah,
where they belong, and use that government, that governed mind, that central bank, that central
control.
United Nations, whatever you want to call it, that system in the middle to keep that separation going.
Yeah. So it's in fact something that, you know, there's actually, when you look, our source, I read the other day that there's going to be a shortage of water globally. So we should be thinking of importing water from other countries. And that was, I read in one of the US, you know, journals. So people should, and it's leave people anxious, you know, what's going to happen. And people become, you know, agitated, moving. So the sense of lack, and people end up being sold more lies, you know. We need to wake up from this kind of systems that have been in place that have not been beneficial to us as humans. And even if it is not so, the elite tries to, you know, create that situation by polluting the earth, you know. And when they pollute the earth, that goal or that means of control, because once these people have their liberties, they can feed themselves, they can clothe themselves, they can do whatsoever they want. It's all about control, you know. If I leave them to be free, and there's no need, you know,
It's
control freak, you know.
Yeah, it's about, like, I like to, the only time I'll use control is when it comes to the mind. So they're trying to control the mind,
Yeah.
but otherwise they exploit and manipulate the situation, you know, because they can't control humanity. They can't control the environment. They can't control Mother Earth, but they can exploit and manipulate. And that's where the world versus Mother Earth comes in, right? So they can manipulate and exploit weather to try to cause droughts, to try to cause floods, to try to do things that'll screw up the weather for crops so that there's, you know, devastating, you know, hailstorms and stuff like that to ruin crops that are there. Like, it's just insanity. But the thing is right now, Benjamin, that they're so afraid, so fearful of humanity, because humanity is becoming so much more conscious and so much more
awake,
aware.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Of so many truths. And it's not one truth, it's thousands of truths that are being exposed all at once. You know, 2020 was the year of perfect vision to look back and say, are you kidding me? Like, really? We fell for all of this for all of our lifetimes? And so many people have got out of that fear. But I watched a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell you a quick one.
Mm-hmm.
I chose a movie on my own last night called The Passion of Christ.
What?
And my goodness, you talk about a story that's going to scare people away from taking the path of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, don't try this at home. You want to try and be like Jesus? Look what you have to go through. That was the most horrific movie I've ever seen in my life. And we know that, well, not the most horrific, but, you know, we know that it's all allegory, right? But to present it that way, as if that happened to a man, like, and he survived it, like, it's just insanity to drive that in. So that
horrific.
Yeah, and that movie was released to the public. So those people who run Hollywood, they said, yeah, go ahead, you can release that one. That'll scare anybody that thinks they want to be like Jesus Christ. Oh, look what you're going to have to go through. You know, like, oh my God. You know, don't get me wrong. I believe there was a man, and you know, spoke Aramaic and lived in those times and everything like that was extremely conscious. Did he hang and die on a cross like the media wants to pound into our brains? I don't think so. But that's my thoughts. I think he just kept standing up, going forward no matter what. Slap or turn the other cheek simply means that he got slapped. So this cheek over here, he turned forward and said, I'm going that way. You know, those are my thoughts. But you know, any kind of fear to take you off your path, you know, if you get involved in the banking industry, you'll get taken out. The DOD or the CIA will come after you. I never thought that day from day one. Once I entered into this business, it was like, whatever. I want everybody to know what I'm doing. I want everybody to realize and know the utter insanity and illusion of debt, because there is no debt. Who the hell are you in debt to? Would you ever be in debt to? The people that stole the gold, or the people that obtained it, or the people that autograph documents? Because that's how it's created.
Authentic you. I am the gold. I am the silver.
But yeah, we were going to talk about agriculture. We kind of got diverted. I guess we could get back to that if you like.
But it's all well and good, you know. So we when you look at, you were talking about Hollywood. If you have watched, I don't know whether you watched the Golden Globes. It's on YouTube. Golden Globes for 2020. The one that Ricky Gervais did a presentation. I mean, it was fun. You know, some of the things that he was saying, he said it's over, you know, we are all dead. You just watch it. This is in fact funny. He was making fun of them. And when I was watching it, I was saying to myself, this guy will not be invited again to do the presentation. And this year, he was nowhere. So, I mean, it's over, it's all over. People are like getting to ask questions. They are asking questions. Why this, why this? Now, you cannot just put anything there and say, we have been feeding them this way and they will always take it. Now, people are understanding that whatever we see, I listened to one lady in one of your interviews, and then the lady was saying, sometimes we are able to create situation or scenery which is not there, but because people see, you know, on the screens. They said, no, CNN, it was shown on CNN, it was shown on this, it was shown on them, it was shown on, so they believe. The TV has replaced their cognitive ability to, decipher truth from, falsehood. So they just go about, they swallow everything, cook and sinker, and they just follow because the TV said so, because I saw it on TV, because
Yeah.
yeah. So everything is TV, TV, TV.
Yeah.
But now people are beginning to realize that we have been sold this lie for long, and it is time for us to, discern the truth from the lie. So people are not watching TV anymore. I told one guy that I stopped watching TV 2002. And he's saying, wow, 2002? I said, yeah, I didn't need to watch TV again because it was a loop. 6 o'clock, it will be 12 o'clock. The same, it is recycled. And, learning, repetition is learning. So what they want to imprint on your mind, no wonder it's a program, TV program. So it's imprinted on your mind. The news is looped, and some of them can go over days, and it is looped over and over. Oh, you take and then you are just feeding yourself with these lies and then truth, and you are in la la land. You think it's the
Yeah.
truth, but it's not the truth. So
Yeah.
walk away.
And it's so cool, Benjamin, because when I watched that show last night, I think it was made in 2004. So that's 15 years ago. And I remember I saw it once, but I don't remember where. I think on television. But as soon as I saw it, the actors' faces were so familiar, each one of them. It was like, oh yeah, I remember that guy's face exactly. So what I started thinking was how these things, these computers that are inside this skull,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
They collect information, right, with these extensions, which is our eyes. Our eyes are just an extension of our brain.
It's a window.
And same with our ears.
Mm-hmm.
So they collect information and from everywhere, and most of that information is human construct, right, rather than Mother Nature.
Yeah.
So we're collecting this information from media, and be it movies or television or whatever, even people watching this right now. The goal of those who want to keep this social structure, this separation of humanity and mind, is to control their minds with that constant information, right? However, and just think of this for a second, in the last year, how much constant information on this face diaper has been pumped through those televisions? Like, it's just insane. So is that stuff going to be able to be erased from the minds of the masses? Boy, it's going to take some work. But the beautiful side of that is, Benjamin, and I always look for the positive, like, me, I'll dig through a pile of shit to find some fertilizer in the bottom of it, and it's, so in this case, I think of the internet and how it expanded so fast so that people have so many choices now, and not just alternative media, but just choices whatsoever. that, you know, they're not getting that same kind of focus that we used to get when there was 3 channels on television
Mhm.
or 5 channels on television or whatever. So now the
We have
cats have
choice.
been, yeah, the cat's been let out of the bag. The human beings can't be herded any longer, and they're not gonna ever be controllable anymore because of this expansion in our communication, right?
Yeah.
And the more that we can encourage people just to shut it all off and to get outside with nature, which is the real earth, not the world of man, but the real earth where the truth is, where you know, growth and love and prosperity and sunshine and energy, all of that natural stuff occurs. That's up to us now to encourage people to do more of that. And you know, natural healing processes like the liver cleanse that you and I have been sharing with people, and
Mm.
how important things like that are. Natural processes, like, and if, and as we not if, as we expand that into people's minds, you know, humanity's got nowhere to go but up. We're
Keep
on the
on.
edge of paradise, and there's not a fucking thing anybody can do
Can
about
do.
it, is the way I like to say it.
Now you are towing our friend in Indonesia.
Right.
um, you made mention of programming, how people have been programmed. You know, when you look watch the movie Snowpiercer to the end, in the end, the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing came down. It stopped revolving, and because of the programming, the people were stuck in the indoctrination. Okay, and the kids even were indoctrinated. And when they hear the name Wilford, they hold their hand this way. And what does it
Okay.
form? It form a W, you know. Wilford, Wilford, you know. And they have made, they told the children that, you know, when you go outside, the whole world is, you know, not in order. The gases there are harmful. You breathe, you die. Nothing is working over there. So even when somebody came out, the rest were, you know, inside. But there comes a time somebody will take a giant leap and then break the taboo. And that is when people will get to know that, oh, they say this is harmful, not knowing it is to our benefits, you know. Instead of being packed in 1001, you know, metals revolving, and you are under the control of one man, where the world was so huge and large, there were vast land, you know, we could make something out of the situation. But we have been indoctrinated that this is harmful. And what people also got to realize that even the punishment of the on the train, which was, you know, freezing the hands of people at such extreme temperature that the bones and everything just freeze, and then the hand is hammered off, and the sort of you become, you know, you are disfigured, sort of, was all something that was done by the system, you know. So we should begin to question a lot, and whatever you question, you start getting answers. And the answers, some of the answers may not be pleasant, but in the end, you will find a way to, you know, bring harmony once you have found the disharmony. You take the dis away, and then there is harmony. So that is what I can say to your programming.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. But we've got it now. Like, everything is moving along. And the more we can get to the stage of revealing it and knowing it, and then just moving past it, adding to it,
Yeah.
rather than grievances and, you know, blame and going back into that cyclical you know,
Revolution.
karmic.
Revolution
Yeah,
is a
exactly.
second. At a point in time, the train have to stop.
Yeah. Instead of revolving, let's evolve, you know, let's just stay on a path of polarity and keep moving forward. And it's, I see it in my business and what we're doing here in the
Yeah.
banks, and it's not going to turn around anymore, like, because too many people have infiltrated it with simple truth and with um, um, forgiveness, you know, love. And that's where we got to go. We can't just keep cycling back into blame and pain and grievances. It's not going to help us. So we just got to keep moving forward, brother.
You know,
Rejuvenate.
that's what yesterday we were, discussing about the food that we even eat. Most of them are not real food, which end up, clogging most of our system, like the liver, which is the second brain, gets clogged up because a lot of functions that the liver sort of do for the body. And that is why it's called liver. And so it lives. It is, what do you call it? Purifying, helping with the sending signals to the kidney to purify the blood and all that, the function of the whole system. And the food that we eat, most of them are sort of, especially the artificial sweetness, end up poisoning the whole body. And we patronize some of this, system, and then we eat them, and at the end of the day, our body become, choked, and we have to flush these things. Like yesterday, I was sharing with you that, and Andreas Moritz interview with the lady from Bahrain on YouTube.
Yeah.
Andrea Morris said that, when the liver becomes so clogged, one is prone to anger. And with his long observation, he has observed that people, when the liver is declogged, suddenly become more loving, peaceful,
Yeah.
beautiful, and and all the things, the diseases associated with their system suddenly fade away. But it can be so terrifying when you start at first, because there are things you see when you wake up from the WC, things that you see that after going through that the kind of detox, there are things that you see that will shock you. And I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
uh, I had the same experience. I said, wow. So yeah,
It's a
we need
it's a
to.
story of ascension, isn't it? You know, like
Yeah.
when you think of the 4 days
Mm-hmm.
or the 3 days, sorry, of
Three
the
day, three
ascension
days in
process.
3 days in hell, and
Yeah,
then 4 days of ascending.
that's right. So, and I know when I do the fast, the fourth day, it's like, holy shit, where did I get all this energy from? You know, it's
You
really strange.
start ramping
But
up. Mhm. You
yeah,
have you
but
have
I've
had.
added the fast, and then the last day I put in that cleanse. You know, put the oil and the citrus into your body, and get rid of those stones. So isn't that allegorious
Yeah.
to after the third day roll out the stones or
Yeah,
roll back the stone?
roll back the stone. And
You know, there's allegory in everything, and then the ascension happens. You know, and it's like, holy shit. And like I say, once you're clean inside, once your mind is clean of anger, of frustration, of blame, of hate, of all that stuff, then you
I,
can move forward in a mental manner and in a spiritual manner with love, you know? So start with the biology, start cleaning out your body and your one liver. It's interesting that we have, you know, all this duality. We have two legs,
two
2 feet,
legs, two eyes,
you know, and then all
two
of a sudden you get
two
into that
nostrils,
digestive
two
system. Yeah.
lips, yeah, set of teeth, yeah,
2 lungs,
and then one tongue,
two halves,
yeah,
two halves of our
two
brain.
sides, yeah.
Yeah.
But
But in your digestive system and your cardiovascular, you got one heart, you got one liver. So
because
that oneness is what you have to look
one
after.
tongue because it's dangerous. So-
Yeah. So you look after the oneness within,
Mhm,
and then you start to think in terms of oneness without.
mhm.
And that all that we speak of, you know, the capital A, capital L, capital L.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking about ourself, you know, it's just that oneness with everything, with nature. And it's a natural process that we're talking about in a mental, a physical, and a spiritual manner. And that nature, Mother Earth, focus rather than on the world of man or the globe, the global, you know, like that's an agenda. Mother
You
Earth is always here. Mother Earth is always the answer. Mother Earth and nature are, and nurture are the ways, you know? It's just so perfect.
do you remember I sent you a video? I know that you haven't watched it about this woman, an article actually by Charlotte Gershon, and he was talking about the coffee animals. And when I was reading the article, this lady actually inherited this procedure or process from the father who have used the coffee that you drink as
Yeah.
animal to purge the system. And I know Andreas Moritz also did mention in the interview also. So coffee have been used. And the lady, when you mentioned about the Bible, rolling away the stone, she made mention of the Dead Sea Scrolls. What was written, Jesus said about in the what is written in the Dead Sea Scrolls, that Jesus said that, you know, purge out what is inside of you with animal, and you find out all the deaths, what is actually causing the ills as manifestation. And even in the Bible says it is not what gets inside of you that, you know, defiles the body, but what comes out of you. So
Yeah.
it means that there are things that you have already put there already, which is poisoning the body, and they need to come out. So I
Yep.
was thinking, I said, okay, I haven't read the Dead Sea Scrolls, or I haven't read what you have read, but what I know from the ordinary Bible, Jesus said, it is not what enters into a man that defiles him, but what comes out of him. And there are other ways that these things can come out of. Primarily, if you are looking at the orifices of the body, there are about 7, you know, outlets that, you know, stuff can come out of you. And the principal ones are the mouth and then the down part, okay? And I have doctor friends who tells me, you know, when somebody have taken in toxin and he vomits them out, and that is very dangerous, okay? But
Yep.
when it passing through, it's a little bit, you know, mild. But when these things, you're able to do the enema. And so one guy who was, I later watched a video, one guy who was interviewing this old lady, Charlotte Gershon, was saying, asked the woman, but we drink coffee, why doesn't it do the work that you say the enema does? And the old lady said, no, when you take it this way, it goes through another channel, and it has been designed by the creator for it to undergo certain processes at this part. But when it bypasses the mouth and goes through that place direct, it have direct access to a lot of stuff. I said, wow. So there is so much, you know, that we need to
Yeah.
sort of learn, and also to, what do you
Yeah.
get, you know?
You know, yeah, that's interesting, eh?
Yeah.
Well, you know, Benjamin, I'm getting close. I think we should probably tie it up pretty quick, but
Yeah.
I wanted to mention one of the most challenging parts of this story that we're involved in, right? This ascension process that is happening, is that idea of forgiveness right to the end. And, you know, watching The Passion of the Christ last night, and, you know, as graphic and as, you know, unrealistic in my mind as it was, there's still some key points at the end of that movie where he keeps saying, forgive them for they know not what they do. And the programming that's taken place in the minds of the minions who are left behind, okay, the minions of people that are following some agenda, a globalist agenda, is what we have to forgive, because the people who constructed this on a, you know, call it satanic level if you want, but it's crazy thoughts in my mind. Those people are mostly gone. Yeah. So the people that are left behind that are continuing this story at any rate are fearful and are misled and need to be forgiven, because they don't know what they're doing and what they're saying. The doctors that are putting a little prick in somebody's arm, they don't know what they're doing. They need to be forgiven. And we need to get to that stage, whether it be in my industry, in the banking industry, in the medical industry, in the allopathy, in agriculture where they've been using chemicals. We just need to forgive and then take our consciousness into that industry, whichever one it is, and do our thing, which is the natural, loving, adding to what we have and getting ourselves into a new golden age, because it's here. And I use that word because I just, you know, don't know what other word to use. A golden age of mankind seems to resonate with people, so I'll use it. But it's freedom. It's just love. It's just, you know, acceptance of what is. It's connection back to Mother Earth and God. And when we do that and forgive them for they don't know what they're doing, boom, we've got it.
I think you rightly nail it there. So I think we'll come back again and somehow do this again, because what we even intended doing, that's, you know, exposing about the fraud in the agriculture industry and what is there for us, you know, the years ahead, you know, how we can eat and eat well rather than taking in junk stuff into our body. It's all there, and we'll come out another time to share with the masses. And I think it's good. It was good, you know, having this, and we have enjoyed ourselves. I hope those who later watch will also enjoy and contribute. Thank you.
Wonderful, brother. So with abundance, sovereignty, health, love, and euphoria for all, Benjamin and I signing off.
Yeah.
We love you guys.
We love you.
Catch up with you another time, Benjamin.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Love ya.